Hey, what's new, guys? This is XL Play One Games, and today I'm going to give you guys my full-on review of Lode Runner Legacy, made by All Games for the Nintendo eShop on a Nintendo Switch. So I feel like I am worthy to give you guys my review of this game, seeing as, after all, last week I did give you guys my initial and first glimpse and impressions, and I have played this game more on my own time. And I've experienced most of the modes. I think the only modes that I haven't played are 2-player mode and extra modes. Those are the only 2 modes that I haven't played yet. So, even that being said, I feel like I am in a position and I'm worthy to give you guys my review of this game. So, what Lode Runner Legacy is, for those of you who don't know, is it's a remix of the game's Lode Runner that was made in the 1900s and for the arcades. So, and it consists of various modes, including a classic mode, and I'll get to that in a moment. So the first mode you have is the adventure mode, and what it is you go into various levels, and your Lode Runner is constantly in a tower collecting treasures by drilling blocks. And you drill those blocks so you can get down the treasures and collect them. Once you collect all of them, you will be given a ladder to escape the level. And then once you escape the level, you'll be ranked on some about your performance or something with 1 to 3 stars. Now, to be perfectly honest with you, I'm not really sure how the ranking system works. So, yeah, I think it's something to do with your points or something, but I'm not 100% sure. But in the later levels in adventure mode, you'll get some enemies. Like, a few will be just, this other guy coming after you and stopping you from getting your treasures. And so, yeah, and then you'll go into this whole different world in adventure mode eventually. And you'll end up with a lot of foes climbing on ropes and stuff. And you have to try to evade them and get your treasures, because they'll do whatever they can to stop you from getting your treasures, because they'll literally just move on the ropes, and that's enough to kind of mess you up a little bit. So, yeah, that's the adventure mode, and then you have a puzzle mode, and puzzle mode consists of short levels that will give you coverage of puzzles with no enemies in it, by the way. Like, the only enemy may end up being eventually your lack of experience with puzzles. At least that's how it was personally for me. So, yeah, that's what it is. It's short levels, but it consists of you having to break a lot of blocks or draw a lot of blocks to get the gold, because sometimes you'll get the gold, but you won't be able to make it back up to the ladder, because in this game you cannot jump. So that's that's the way that they make it hard. So, like, you can't jump in this game anyways. But then you have a classic mode. And classic mode is basically simply just the games that some of you guys used to play in the early times of Lode Runner. And it's just like that with the same enemies and same sounds. Only exception is that the Nintendo Switch vibrates when, stuff happens, just as it does in the regular modes. And then, finally, you have a World Levels mode. And what World Levels mode is it kind of makes Lode Runner social, and you can play modes. You can play levels that other people have customized and uploaded to the Lode Runner platform. And you need internet, but I don't even think you need Nintendo Switch Online for it. So, yeah, that's basically what it is. And then the other mode you have is a craft mode. And craft mode is the way that people post their levels online with world levels. And so what craft mode does is you can customize your very own levels and either keep them to yourself or show them to the public. Let the public get an eyeful of your creativity. And I think what's really cool about it is that they have customization options even for enemies, because I've never seen enemies destroy blocks in the regular modes, but the enemy Lode Runners in the worldwide levels mode that I've played, they can destroy blocks, and you can customize wherever they go to try to either kind of mess up the player that is playing your level. and all kind of stuff like that. So, now I'll basically give my opinion of this game, like each of the modes. So for the adventure mode, it's pretty well done. I really do like the effects and the creativity that they had with it. Like, I kind of do like adventure games. Like, don't get me wrong, they're not my favorite, but, I do like the adventure mode a lot. Like, it's the kind of one that I get a lot of entertainment out of. And, as for the puzzle mode, I do like the puzzle mode because, the gameplay is alright, and so are the sounds and music and stuff like that. But the one thing, like I said earlier, the enemy for me is my lack of experience with puzzles. And, that kind of messes me up sometimes because, these levels, one of the levels are like, they were a little bit infuriating to have to handle. But that's not a bad thing. Like, after all, that's kind of what puzzles are made for. And as they get harder and harder as you progress through the things. And then classic mode is alright. I think it might end up being a nostalgic feel to you guys who have played this game in the early times of it, like when it first came out in the 1900s of some type. And it will give you a good feel of the old days. Not to mention, it's free with the game. So you can play the classic Lode Runner anytime you like. It doesn't need any internet or anything. It just comes right with the game. So I think that'll be pretty good for, all you folks who have played this game, Lode Runner, the original, earlier. And also with that good price of the game, which I'll tell you about in a moment. And so yeah, that's basically all it is, the classic mode. And then for me, I think, like, I haven't really used the world levels mode, but the world levels mode is pretty cool. It's like what I like about it is it's sitting right there, built in to the game. And with the Mario series, like in comparison, Super Mario Maker was just a different, all it is like a level builder within that replicates levels in Mario games that are different by your choice. But what I like about this is that there's a craft mode sitting right there in Lode Runner Legacy, and you can even play the levels that other people have made, and it's sitting right there, and even for the price that they charged. So yeah, and craft mode, I haven't really used it so much, so I don't really know about what my experiences are with it. But what I do like it. They give you pretty specific directions, and you can kind of and then you can let your creativity flow. Like just do you. And I think you can also upload them to the public. And I think it's easier to do than Super Mario Maker, because I've heard of Super Mario Maker. You have to like share it with one of your friends or whatever like that. So overall, the game is pretty good. It's currently priced at $11.99 on a Nintendo eShop, and I think it's pretty much worth it. Like, I really like it a lot. Like, it's really awesome. And yeah, the game is made at a good price. Not to mention, like, that's another thing I love about the game, the pricing system. The pricing system is really strategic of Tozo Games, and I think they ought to give Nintendo a little bit of lesson on humility, because Nintendo, like, they started charging $60 for Nintendo Switch games, and I'm like, that's going a little overboard. So yeah, so $11.99, pretty great price. Not to mention, it must have taken a lot of humility for the creators to do that, because you can only imagine the time and effort they did put into this game. And it's really good. Like, they made sure that we had good music. They made sure that we had good modes. They even made it so that we could put the classic mode. And I don't even know if it may have been that easy to like extract that mode from there and then put it in this game. So it must have taken them a lot of time. But rather than be like Nintendo and kind of bask in it, they charged like only $12 for the game. Like, and that's pretty amazing to me. Like, I'm gonna be completely honest. It's pretty darn amazing that they had the humility to do something such as that. So yeah, that's basically what I'm going to talk about in this video. Just basically to summarize, Lode Runner Legacy is superb. Like, I don't think my explanations will do it justice. Like, you could go get it yourself if you're a fan of the Lode Runner to begin with. Because, here's one thing. I didn't even really know that Lode Runner existed until one of my family members installed this game on our Nintendo Switch. And I never knew that there was such a thing. But I even enjoyed it. I enjoyed the Lode Runner a lot. But one thing I would complain about, though, is the fact that single player, you can only use 2 Joy-Cons or a joystick. And, that's kind of ridiculous to me, because in 2-player mode, you can use single Joy-Con play, which of course makes sense. But that shows me that clearly you can play this game with a single Joy-Con. So I thought, what's the harm in playing this with single Joy-Con play in single player when it's sitting right up there in multiplayer mode? So yeah, that was the only one thing I had to complain about. And here's one thing that would be cool. Like, this is not a judgment. I'm not trying to judge the creators for doing this or for not adding this, because it probably wouldn't be something that they would add anyway. Because I haven't played much games from Tozo Games, but but here's one thing that would be cool. Like, if your enemies started taking your gold, like if they started looting your gold, and they will try to go around the level, trying, not to let you catch them. And if you wedge them in between those blocks, because when you break a block, it'll grow back eventually, and you can use that against them. And then maybe, when it comes back together on them, it will squash them, and you'll be able to get your treasures. But yeah, apart from those, this game is really awesome. But one thing is, the demo version doesn't really do it justice. Like, like demo, like some other demo games, it's like the demo version actually makes you want it. But here's the problem with the demo version. The demo version doesn't have everything you want. But Lode Runner Legacy, like, I would say, if you're gonna update the demo, add a little more to it. Like, add a sneak peek at the different world and adventure mode, with the enemies climbing on ropes, and just do that sort of thing. And that's what I would say. Like, if you're gonna do that, then you should like make the demo like maybe like play the classic mode like 3 times. Like, I don't think you should allow them to play the craft mode. But yeah, like, this game is really good. My things won't do it justice. Go play it yourself. But I would say, yeah, that's what I think about this game. Shoot me a comment. Let me know what your thoughts about are in this game. But that's my review of it. So until next time, it's XL Playing Games signing off. Later, guys.